Joe, would you bow your heads and pray with me?
No, we can't do this.
Hail independent Christian movies full of trash. We thank you for your bountiful movies you have given us. From Kirk Cameron saving himself in the rapture, to Kirk Cameron saving his marriage, to Kirk Cameron saving the idea of a consumerist Christmas in a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation. We ask you to bless our listeners and to bless the hunkiest and dreamiest worship leaders, Jeremy Camp. We also pray that people would follow in our example in this time of disease and foolishly risk their own health to go and help out our boy. Help him make a little bit more money by going to see I Still Believe in theaters now. For yours is the Kevin Downs Productions, the Kendrick Brothers, and the Pure Flicks. Forever. Amen.
That was good. That was good.
Give me a moment's peace and take out the trash.
We pay taxes for people to come and take the garbage.
Hey, listen, Greenie, no more sneaking rides to the junkyard. Yeah, man, take a taxi when you want to go to the junkyard.
Hello and welcome to Hot Trash Unlimited, the sacrilegious edition. I'm Caleb.
I'm Joe.
This is the show where we go see movies that we think might be hot trash, or in this case, we're pretty confident. And then we talk about them. Joe, what did we see this week?
I still believe
in your holy word.
Now we have an artist who's had 32 number one singles, 4.5 million albums sold. Let's welcome Jeremy Camp.
I still believe.
You're getting married.
Yeah.
But will she get better?
I don't know, Mom. Son, you're only 20 years old. You just met this girl. I'm supposed to be with her.
the Jeremy Camp biopic.
There have been a lot of different types of Christian movies. There have been the kind that I grew up on, the Billy Graham ones, which we need to do an episode on the Billy Graham ones at some point. They're great. But then there was the church-made ones.
The Facing the Giants.
Yeah, and then you had your Christploitation ones where it's like, oh, those are making money. What do Christians love? To feel oppressed. Let's just make them where we yell at atheists. And then there were the, these are still being made, the miraculous healing ones,
mm-hmm.
your Outbreaks, your Heavens Are for Reals.
Your I Can Only Imagine.
Yeah, but this is the new one, right?
Yes.
Is the biopic. So I think we should start out. Joe, which is your least favorite and favorite of these trends?
Oh, boy. Can both be Christploitation? Because they're awful, but hilarious at the same time.
Yes. My least favorite is definitely Christploitation. I think my favorite is, I mean, the ones with the most potential to be good probably are these biopics. Like, I can't wait for the American Noise, the Skillet story.
That's such a good title.
But I think just purely for nostalgia, my favorite will always be the Billy Graham ones. Your Road to Redemptions, your The Climb.
Are we going to talk about this movie?
I guess we have to.
Jeremy Camp, for those who don't know, is a Christian artist.
I just want to go back. I think I said Road to Perdition instead, which is a real movie. That's also very good. I meant Road to Redemption.
Okay. Jeremy Camp, for those who don't know, is a Christian rock artist.
Well, praise and worship.
He was rock.
They name drop Joshua Tree in this, which makes sense because all Christian worship music has sounded like U2 for about 30 years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, in a sense, rock.
I mean, he's definitely more pop sounding nowadays, but I don't listen to Jeremy Camp. I don't have any.
I was about to say, when was the last time you heard a Jeremy Camp song outside of this movie?
Years. And this is a movie about his first marriage that has songs sprinkled in.
Not graciously or gracefully sprinkled in.
No, not at all.
The movie begins with Jeremy being sent off to college. Did they name drop the college?
Yeah, a bunch.
Then how do I not remember which college
Something
it was?
Chapel Bible College or something along those lines.
It's a Bible college in California, which personally as an evangelical I think is impossible.
Yes.
But there he meets Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc Picard.
I guess he's a real person, but I've never heard of him.
Be.
So this guy must be upset because not only did Jeremy Camp steal his girl, but he also has a much more successful career than him.
He was already a $1 million record deal at that point or whatever, as they kept saying. He was so famous.
I mean, I was 3 in 1999, so I guess. And then he meets Brett Robertson. Mm-hmm. Melissa, was that her name? I should know.
Yeah, it was Melissa.
Because every concert scene he says it. Who they fall in love, and she gets cancer right after they break up, which means by rom-com conventions, or at least romantic conventions, because there's not many rom-coms about cancer.
There's also no comedy in this, so
they have to get back together.
Yeah. Before we go further, I hate everything about this relationship.
It's not a great relationship.
She's flaky, wants to keep everything a secret. Jean-Luc, her best friend of years or whatever, dishes her and becomes like the gung-ho man for Archie. I'm going to call him Archie. He's not Jeremy Camp, he's Archie. It's not even like cute gross. It's just kind of like, oh, you're boring.
Well, I mean, yes, this is an independent Christian movie,
Yes.
so the couple is, of course, white bread.
Yes.
But they go from, like, hesitantly flirting to dating with, like, the snap of your fingers. Mm-hmm. And then from dating to immediately breaking up. There is no breathing room for this relationship to develop.
And this isn't even over, like, the course of a long amount of time, either.
Yeah. It literally goes from meet,
date,
break up,
within the span of 10
cancer,
minutes.
engagement.
Okay, well, all that in the span of 20 minutes, but the first 3 in the span of 10.
You know, she was a real person. Mm-hmm. So just
gotta be careful.
Preface this whenever I say she, I'm talking about the character and not the real person. But she's not a good person. She, first off, I get that you want to keep your friendship with Jean-Luc, but you have to be honest with him and just tell him. I get this is the 90s, right? Like friend zoning was still a thing, I guess. You didn't want to hurt him, but like be honest with him. And then she isn't, and so she immediately starts blaming Jeremy for that.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh my word, why are you still with her? Oh yeah, it's because she has cancer.
And that'd be bad. She scares me. I mean, I get that, you know, Christian movie, they're not gonna talk about their faith together or whatever. But she immediately goes into the stuff that, you know, seems very culty all of a sudden.
They hold off on saying God till
25 minutes. I timed it.
But then the floodgates open.
Yeah.
And so
no, that was them. All they're holding back. They were like, oh, there's too much. It's all coming through.
And it's the thing, like the biggest downside with, I think, these biopics right now are that they're trying to trick you. Or I think the healing movies are like this too, to a certain extent. They're trying to trick you into like, this is just a movie. It's not a Christian movie. But then...
Oh, these two leads were hired on the fact that they're very popular with non-believer crowds.
All that to say, it almost feels like they're ashamed of it until they aren't. They're ashamed of being a Christian movie. And then they're like, oh no, we have to jam it all in. I get that this is a movie and it needs to make money. So, but like Christian movies do make money. So why do Christian movies either have to, 1, completely isolate themselves into the bubble, or 2, do this bait and switch? Why can't they just play the field straight? I
don't have an answer for you. I don't have a theory for you or anything.
It's frustrating. That's the thing about these Christian movies. I was telling Joe before we started recording, at least this one's not morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating to see all these, because I would say this film does have potential, and just to see it wasted.
I wouldn't even say like the Christian elements are kind of what drags it down, like some movies are. I'm some aspects. I'm not saying that's like the sole reason, but like
no, but I definitely think the like hesitancy.
Yeah.
Like just embrace what you are without, being alienating. Right? Because you can be a Christian movie that completely embraces the Christianness and not be like, a God's not dead, where then you're automatically going, foreigners, atheists, Muslims, they're all evil. They're all going to hell. We must kill Kevin Sorbo. Like there's a balance there that I don't think this film finds. You want to talk about cancer?
Oh,
or do you want to put that off some more?
No, I mean the first half I think is what slows the movie down pacing wise, because kind of once the cancer kicks in, it speeds up ever so slightly, and then it loses its footing again. Yeah, she gets cancer, and then they kind of montage themselves through it.
There are several points where they're like, oh wait, we have to get through this story. Put in a montage. Yeah. Find that marketable Christian song and put in a montage.
Yeah, and then they're just gone.
Well,
what was the timing for it that it happened?
Oh, who knows? But it's prayed away.
Oh, they get engaged also.
He does this really weird thing. Yeah, okay. Immediately after breaking up,
yeah,
they get engaged. He does this thing where like while he's rising on the charts and like he's going to concerts and with his buddy Jean-Luc and going
his
on
hype man, his personal hype man, who is bigger than him, who is the person who keeps introducing him at shows, like during his own sets.
And then like on radio interviews, he's like constantly asking for prayer and stuff, it's weird,
I thought they were going to go super like not cool with it and be like, my wife is suffering from ovarian cancer or something. I thought they never did.
Well, okay.
They were just like, she has a big surgery coming. I was like, oh, that's...
Well, that's because like a violation like that would be completely in character, because I think the fact that he is having people lay hands on her at a concert is a violation of her. Like, and you know, like I said, real story. So if they did this and they were cool with it, fine. But it's really creepy.
It's weird.
And hands-on prayer is something that I've done. Like I'm a fan of it in a church context where everyone knows each other and it's not a bunch of strangers, right? Like I've prayed for healing before. It's just making it a spectacle and bringing in a bunch of people who you don't know. It just feels weird and exploitative, and I don't like it, Joe. If I ever get cancer and at your shows,
Dusk Before Dawn show.
at a Dusk Before Dawn show, please, if I go, don't have the people do lay on hands.
They get married.
Yeah, she gets healed. They get married.
Almost immediately.
Big surprise. Cancer comes back.
And on their honeymoon.
Because we got runtime left.
Then she dies.
Yes.
Almost as quickly as everything else in this movie has happened. Then Jeremy's frustrated, so he destroys his $3,000 guitar, and she had slipped in a note into it that was her last message to him.
So, all right, y'all. Okay.
Oh, boy. You gotta be touchy with this kind of stuff.
I know. And especially because, like, I am a Christian, and, like, I believe in things like healing and God having a plan for you and stuff. And if you're a person who, like, you're dealing with this stuff and believing that this is part of God's plan for you and having a destiny, that's helping you cope and that's helping you get through that. That's fine. And that belief is valid. However, personally, I think looking at cancer and being like, yes, this is good. This is a good thing. God can do so much with this. That is not a healthy way to look at things. It's not personally, I feel like that is almost robbing the importance of what is going on. Cancer is a terrible thing.
Horrible, terrible disease.
Yes. And like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick, right? It's just, I don't think that it's true that God uses cancer to like bring people to salvation or whatever. And sure, maybe I'm wrong. I probably am wrong, but like I see cancer as something that happens because we live in a fallen world, right? And like God works despite of that. He doesn't work within it. And so every time when she's going on about this is my destiny and I'm just one of those stars if it helps one person, I'm like, no. Like I think the anger that Jeremy Camp feels in this, like that he demonstrates, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's reasonable. The point is I'm a bad Christian and I'm going to hell, I guess.
You should join that podcast instead.
I mean, I believe in evolution, so I belong on it.
These stars from this 10,000-year-old world. Have you been to the Museum of Historical Fiction? The dinosaurs?
But yeah, then she dies and Jeremy deals with it, which, you know, for a movie called I Still Believe, probably should be the bulk of the movie. But then, you know, he writes a hit song and then he meets a redhead who he goes on to marry.
Yep.
Which that seems weird. So he's playing this festival. It's really
weird because they just start panning to shots of random girls.
Yeah.
One guy in this entire like close-up shots of people. Then this redhead gets the camera twice.
So you know she's important.
Yeah. Who has not been seen. Unless she was in that other scene where she said they saw her.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going back to look. But it is one of those things where it's like, oh, I feel like y'all are doing some marketing moves here. And like, you want people to be like turned on by Jeremy Camp. So you're showing all these girls being turned on by Jeremy Camp. It's weird.
It was really, really odd.
Like, I get that this is technically a romance, but that scene felt very...
Also, Jean-Luc being there, being the hype man.
Jean-Luc's just the best. We all need Jean-Luc's in our lives.
Is he though? Because he ditches his best friend and never talks to her.
You brought that up twice, which I think is valid, but I have a whole rant about that. But okay, so here's my rant about this. And this is why I feel like this movie falls apart. It involves Jean-Luc because there's a lot here that's good. I think there are maybe 4 or 5 creative shots in the movie, which is about 4 or 5 more than you get in most independent Christian movies. I think it's well lit. I think the editing is competent. I like that for his younger brother who has disabilities, they cast an actor who has disabilities, not something you'd see from like a Kendrick Brothers movie. So there's some good stuff here. The acting, I think KJ Apa is pretty good. Lieutenant Dan plays his father, which is nice. But Melissa is not a character in this movie. She is a prop.
Yeah.
And I think John
She
Luke...
is fully used to, like, just progress the plot.
The fact that John Luke never has a scene with her...
Without KJ Apa.
No, he's never in the same scene with her after they have their fight.
Oh, after their fight. Yeah.
Once she has cancer, they are never seen together in the same scene. Like, he's always talking to Jeremy. When he brings all the letters, Jeremy is the only one who reads them, right? Like, this is a prop for Jeremy's progression. And I get that this is Jeremy's story, and I'm fine with that. I think it's a valuable story to tell. But the fact that one of the characters has no characterization beyond I'm destined to die is really disgusting. And it makes everything feel hollow. Mm-hmm. And maybe for some people, that's fine. They will find character in her. But I didn't. I felt like she was a shell, and they could have swapped out the actress on every take, and it would have felt just as, like, realistic.
They,
Not the actress's fault. This is how they've written the character.
They don't really do anything with her. All she says is just motivating stuff. Jeremy, you're going to learn from this. And it's just boring also. Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like, well, I think you've robbed her of a little bit of her humanity here. Mm-hmm. But also it's just like, I guess from a practical point, more importantly, you've just kind of doomed your movie to be not that good because of it. But then again, I guess that's the same with every character in this movie. None of them matter. It's all about the camp.
He has a personality, like, for the first 30 minutes where, like, he's kind of like, oh, that bright-eyed young Jeremy making his way onto college for the first time. And then they lose it. As soon as when he is with Britt Robertson.
Hey, he has a great personality. He likes DC talk. He likes audio adrenaline. He has an OC Supertones. I was going to make a joke about it's like, oh, he has all these 90s Christian bands on his wall. Where's OC Supertones? But then it's another scene and they're up there now. Oh, here's something else. He's a terrible husband. The few times that she's allowed to feel emotion, he's just in another room and he's listening and he never, like, tries to
console her or anything.
It's really weird.
Then he meets his future wife and she has stars on her jacket.
And stars are, like, the only defining characteristic of Melissa. So, like, this is the new Melissa, guys.
And then we left once it got to and here they are now.
Yeah, I mean, they married, they had kids. It's great. These are both real people and I'm glad they're happy. I'm not really glad they made a movie. Did this movie save your heathen soul, Joe? Do you feel closer to God because of this movie? Did this hasten the kingdom for you?
No,
the day?
No, but I did buy 6 Jeremy Camp albums on the way home.
That's a good question. Do you think that this is just a marketing tool for
No, because
Jeremy Camp?
The songs they're doing from that time, they don't sound like his songs.
No, well, it's because every time he starts playing a song,
it's just an acoustic guitar,
and it cuts to like the sound design cuts to the studio version of the song. It's really weird.
I mean, it's expected. This isn't Les Mis where it's live.
Or, I Walk the Line where they do, like, it's clear that they recorded it in a studio, but they mix it in with the soundscape of the movie. So you don't think this is just a big commercial for Jeremy Camp?
No.
Good. I wasn't quite sure. There are some points where I'm like, this kind of feels like they're just trying to sell records. But I think by the end, it is Jeremy Camp does feel like he has a valuable story to tell. And this producer just happens to want to make money.
Not told very well.
Yeah, which again is a step up from your God's Not Deads of the world. So how are we going to rank this?
Boring. Just skip it.
I like how boring has become one of our, like, it's basically an official ranking.
Yeah,
like, good, bad, boring.
Good, hot trash, boring. It's boring is don't bother with it.
If you're a Christian and you liked I Can Only Imagine or whatever, yeah, go see it. You'll enjoy it. I don't feel like I have to tell people to not see it or plead people to not see it, which is a step up. That being said, I think it really rings hollow. And because it has such, like, weighty source material, it can't be fun enough to be hot trash, which is disappointing.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing. I know we're rating and we're done, basically. There's just, it's weighty material, and never once do they try to, like, steer away and kind of lighten up the mood at any point.
Never do they joke around about her cancer. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I think you could have had some great, like, moments where you show the spectrum of emotions you could go through in this experience. But no.
Or even before when they're just dating.
Yeah. But no, we have to do a montage. We have to get that K-Love sponsorship in there. So, well, anyway, if you'll join me in our benediction joke. I'm joking. I'm not going to be doing that again. Although if I do get the coronavirus because I went to see, I can still imagine whatever this movie was. I'm going to be pretty upset. But, God has a purpose for it.